So, of course, in Badbroka, the government hospital has been improved greatly and been rehabilitated to an extent that it can now render good services to the community. So the government is doing well in that, and that is not going untold. You see how the National Public Health Authority handled the outbreak of the monkeypox. I mean, within a few months, we were able to eliminate that in this country because of the experience that we had with dealing with COVID, which itself was something that's commended globally. That Sierra Leone was one of the countries that handled the impact of the COVID pandemic very well, to the extent that we were one of the lowest number of mortalities in the world. We lost 121 people. It's still a lot for us because one death is one too many if it is preventable. But the government could be congratulated, could be commended, because we know that in places like Italy, in places like the UK, the USA, they suffered hundreds and hundreds of thousands of, to the point that some of the people who were involved in the COVID-19 pandemic fight here in Sierra Leone were taken as international experts. Some went to Tanzania, some went to Kenya to go and just see how they could improve the responses in those countries. So we have a little bit of things to celebrate in Sierra Leone.
All right, thank you so much. Continue to stay with us. He is the presidential spokesperson, Alhaji Alpha. For another issue this afternoon, renowned educationist and gender activist Cassandra Garba has presented over 20,000 millions to the Dowantoni Organization for the Aged. The funds came from proceeds of a book she wrote titled Centenary Heroic Landing from a Matriarch's Desk. The book highlights the impact of the Freetown Secondary School as it celebrated 100 years of education in the country. The funds were presented to DOFA. Cassandra Garba was a former principal of the Freetown Secondary School for Girls and a strong member of the Creole Descendants Union. For more on her book, I have Ma'am Cassandra Garba in the studios. Good afternoon, ma'am. Welcome to the podium. Good afternoon. Welcome to the podium.
Good afternoon, my dear. You have to speak loud.
Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to the podium.
Thank you.
Okay. So now let's come to what motivated you to write this book.
Well, by career, I'm an historian, and I have experience, of course, because of my career and of working life and all that, and even after, we notice a sad vacuum in the absence of historic details of life in our country, different aspects of life in our country, particularly in areas like education, even health. So many people for years now have been stressing or pressing on me to do a history of the school. FSSG, by the way, is the only surviving private school started during the colonial era. There were other private schools, of course, during the colonial era. There were quite just as we have now, many people opening schools, but they gradually phased away. Now, FSSG, unlike there was Casey Hayford Vocational, there was Ruben Johnson Memorial, and a few others. Many names we don't really remember because they faded away. In the case of FSSG, we have been able to survive because I still maintain that because of the indomitable character of Hannah Benkakuka, one of the founders of the school. The school was founded by, she was Hannah Luke and her friend Gladys Kesley Hayford. Gladys Dovedwin. Gladys Dovedwin. The two, in their younger days, attended a finishing school in England and came home together, quite impressed with the life they lived and what they imbibed in this school, Portway in Milton Keynes in England. And they decided it was very relevant for such an institution to be established in their homeland in Freetown. But as young people, they were in their mid-20s, not experienced. Their family, of course, supported the idea because at that time, in the early 20th century, the early 1900s, just as we have now, we are having a spate of private schools, this, that, and the other. This was what was happening 100 years ago or more. Many people were thinking of opening schools. There was Reuben Johnson Memorial, there was Adelaide Kesley Hayford, there was Popplestone and all that. But gradually, most of those schools faded away because, of course, financial and other needs. But Hannah Benkakuka, because of her indomitable character and the strong backing from her family, the Luke family, she was able to keep the FSSG alive, even when they faced the problem of being asked to leave, to vacate the buildings they had at Tower Hill.
So the book is about the FSSG?
This is complete, it's the history of the FSSG. And not only because of all my education and career has been at the FSSG. I from the age of 5 up to went to no other school, and then when I left school and college, I went back to FSLG to teach and taught there, and finally ended up being in charge of the school for 20 years. So the volume of data many people realize I have about the school is such that many people keep pressing on me for long that I should write a history of the school. They want to know why it moved from Tower Hill to Oxford Street. They want to know how come it had the buildings at Brookfields. And they want to know, more importantly, that FSSG was the girls' school that operated A-level science, no other school. And that was, I think, quite an achievement. That was quite, I mean, technically speaking, in this modern age of technology, we all know that science is the be-all and end-all of technology. So the fact that from that private school of doing nothing to begin with, it could not vie with the military schools, missionary schools. You know, the Annuals was founded by the Anglican Mission, the Methodists by the Methodist Mission, and of course, St. Joseph's by the Catholic. So FSSD, the only surviving school of the colonial era, was founded by Sierra Leoneans. And they think that's an
Is it the only?
Beg your pardon?
Is it the only? Is FSSG the only surviving school?
Of
Or
the,
one of?
the colonial private.
Okay, private. Because I wanted to ask what about the Annie Walsh and the
That's what
St.
I'm
Joseph
saying.
Convent, which are these
they-
schools are older than the FSSG.
They were founded by missionaries.
Okay.
I say private, I mean individuals.
Okay.
Annie Walsh by the Anglican Mission,
Okay.
Methodist Girls High School by the Methodist Mission, and of course St. Joseph by the Catholics.
Okay.
So as I say, FSSG only, there was Kesley Hayford Vocational. It did not survive.
Okay.
There was Ruben Johnson. It did not survive, and quite a few others which did not survive.
Okay.
We don't remember their names because they did not survive.
Right.
You see, and if I had not, by my own upbringing and whatnot, kept the names, you would not do the. No,
They're strange to me now that you're calling them. Yeah, they're strange to us.
Or Ruben Johnson, I don't think anybody can talk of Ruben Johnson.
Okay, so now we know that most people who attended the FSSG would be interested in this book. Is it only for them you wrote it?
Is it only
For FSSG, ex-pupils or present pupils?
I mean, it is written to timing the centenary, but it is available. It's been available for other people.
But who do you think will be interested other than FSSG people
Who do
that
you think
will be interested in buying this?
I can't tell. I suppose people who know about education
Okay.
should be interested. And in fact, I've had to give complimentary copies at governmental level. I gave a complimentary copy to the National Library, and the leader was very, very impressed and glad. I left some at the museum,
Okay.
and I left some at the archival department,
Okay.
so that they are available for the general inhabitants of Sierra Leone and even outsiders.
Okay, so now let's talk about your contribution to education.
Mike, how can I talk about myself? You other people have to talk. What I can say, if you ask me, is that what I feel is an achievement for me is the fact that it was during my regime as principal of the school that we developed the pure science to the level of government asking the school to be in charge, the only girls' school to be in charge of science, pure science at the A-level standard.
Okay.
So to me, that's
a laudable achievement.
That's quite an achievement.
Exactly. Okay, so now let's come to the rationale behind the donation for the aged. Why the aged?
Why?
Why did you donate to the aged?
Oh, well, I happened to be, I was asked, and of course, I even just felt it was, they were honoring me, asking me to be a life patron of DOFA when it was being founded.
Okay.
Because by my life experience and education, I have been involved in the progress of humanity. Now, girls, of course, education for girls, but generally for humanity at large. And the aged is a group that, apart from infants, that is why you have people concentrating on infants, and some people concentrating on women, and some people concentrating on autistics, you see. So I concentrate on women, girls' education, and the aged. Now, perhaps that's because that's, I don't want to be vain, perhaps it's because of that the good Lord has kept me to this time.
Yes, because you are in your late 90s.
I've been
getting close
in 4 months' time.
You see?
Yeah.
So tell me, what has kept you going? You don't look 90 or even 99.
Well, the people ask me, how can I tell? I think I make the effort, as I say, and I've kept myself busy.
Okay.
Even now, when I move around, people say, Mama Gaba, you the trial. I say, well, I can't just sit at home, you see. And I think by upbringing, the aunt who raised me was a very dynamic woman in the community. And then, of course, Mrs. Benka Coker was the history of life, biography of Mrs. Benka Coker, which of course I wrote also, would show that she was a very dynamic woman.
Okay.
Very dynamic.
But for you, is there a particular lifestyle for you that has kept you going close to this age?
The particular lifestyle I think is traveling. Traveling. I like to travel, and when I travel, obviously, it should be part of you to imbibe interesting and progressive ideas.
What about food?
Food?
Yes. So what? Because some people will say, don't eat this, you'll get fat, you'll die early, fat kills and all.
Well,
so what do you advise?
I still eat, my favorite of course would be abobo beans, the red beans, and its components and the akara. But then also good bitters plus.
So you eat everything?
Yeah, yes,
do.
I do.
So you do not have any particular aging ailment?
No,
Because by this time, some people in their 80s, they can't see much. They can't walk properly. But look at you.
Well, I walk more, of course. It's a strain. But I thank God because I can't understand why I keep going. You see, I mean, you have to appreciate life to participate.
Okay. So now let's come to your contribution or support to women and girls.
Now, as I said, when I was asked to be life patron, I agreed because, I mean, to me it was an honor. And there are many people of my generation whom they could have asked. And then I don't think it's just on paper and to have my name written on their programs, this, that, and the other. You have to justify. If you have accepted, there is a responsibility you have to maintain. Okay.
So that's why you made the donation.
And so when I decided on doing this book, obviously the proceeds would naturally follow would be for the school. Okay. You see, but then it occurred to me, I don't want to be selfish and just keep to FSSG all the time. Then I thought of DOFA. Okay. And as I say, this should, I'm not wanting out of vanity to say this is what they should say, Cassandra Gaba. But when we read and we travel and we see what other people have done, not only within their own environment, but outside their environment. I mean, if you have a good conscience, you should realize that this is an example one should follow. So I felt it's not only when Thanksgiving you put something in an envelope or this, that, and the other. there are other aspects in which you can help physically as well.
Okay.
Some, even you have to go there and do something without, it does not involve cash. You do it. That is being helpful as well.
Okay.
So, as I said, when I decided, was thinking about the proceeds of this book, because I didn't write the book to earn money for myself.
Okay.
I wrote the book principally to leave the history, the data of my alma mater, which is very interesting for posterity. And then, as I said, part of this should go to DOFA. And I was expecting more, but as I said, I had to give a complimentary copy. So yesterday, since at their Thanksgiving, I decided I'd give what so far I have been able to collect. So I gave them 20,000.
Okay. All right. So now, what can you say about your life so far in terms of children, grandchildren? Just briefly, please. What can you say about your life so far in terms of your children, grandchildren, family?
My dear, I can't say for myself, as we say in Creole, Sol no de praising self na soup. I don't know if you...
I understand that.
So, but I'll give you one or two instances that touched me.
Okay.
During the of course the celebrations of our centenary, the Thanksgiving Day, whilst the procession from the church to the school grounds. Of course, you know, I mean, the whole town was above.
You marched?
Yes, the roads were crowded with people supporting and congratulating me. Two of my former pupils who said that I impacted their lives and I did so much to help them. Because as principal, and the way I was brought up, as I say, by an aunt who was very helpful. That aunt of mine, we were about 8 in the house. None of us were her natural and biological child.
Okay.
She had so many. And now that we have all this, of course, in those days, in the 90s, we didn't have about, it's only towards the end when we become independent that we have about tribal this and that. We never had this strict, you are this, you are that. About 4 of the 8 of us were people from the provinces. I mean, that she took. So I grew up with that sensibility. And then also, Mrs. Hannah Baker Cochran's mission, which she stressed, was, and you will read it, I've made mention of it in the book, when she was in charge of the school and was getting, at the time, the 50s, when in Sierra Leone we were beginning to think about nationalism, people having parties that we must move away from the white man's power. She was stressing girls from the provinces should be brought up at the same girls from the colony. That was her very, very strong mission. Okay. And I have said this in the book. Farmer Joka Bangura, who was second, happened to be the DPA ambassador. When Mrs. Baker Coker went on a visit up to Tayama, I think was her very first, and she saw this girl running around. Something just touched her to say, this should not be in this. And so she took Farmer, brought her to the boarding department. I was in the boarding department there. Insisted. Of course, the mother was too happy. In those days, they take your child, bringing the child to Freetown. It's quite a joy. Yeah. And then when she
not now that they bring them to sell on the streets.
And then later on, she insisted that the government should give her a scholarship to go to Fobe College.
Okay.
And after that, Farmer just made up her. So, and then another incident that I keep repeating, when, of course, now and again when I was in my young, I can't say younger days, I used to go on holiday in England and America, during my working years, I should say. I was in a bus in London, the Red Bus. And of course, the conductor came around collecting fares. So when he got to me and I stretched my hand, he said, no bother, somebody has paid for you.
Oh.
When I turned around, one of my former pupils,
Okay.
can you imagine? She must have seen
The impact you made.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, she felt, it's not the 4 or 5 shillings or whatever. It's the fact. She was at the back. I did see her.
Okay.
Even if I'd seen her, probably would not have recognized her.
Okay.
So those are two that have touched me to
All
say
right.
I must have done something with my life.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Continue to stay with us. We'll come back to you because we want you to give an advice to the younger generation. Just hold on. Honorable, as we close, let's talk about the revamped Sierratel briefly, please.
Sierratel is a national, iconic telecommunications company that we really should be very happy that it's been brought back to life.
Okay.
Sierratel itself is a big potential revenue earner. The impact it will have on the outreach, on the extent to which almost all areas of the country will be served by this mobile network, is enormous. Because Sierratel historically used to be the P&T, Post and Telecommunications, which was merged with the external telecommunications, then SLET, to make Sierratel. And they happen to have connections and links and networks all over the place. Almost in every chiefdom you will find either a Sierratel or a P&T box there at the time, or you will find a tower there. So they have the largest, biggest reach in this country. So to have left that infrastructure to decay and not be brought back into revenue generation would have been a shame. So I really congratulate, one, His Excellency the President for giving the political will to the Minister of Communications and Technology to able to link up with Africell as partnering with Sierratel. For me, it's a novelty. The actual partnership that they have, most people would have thought about a takeover by Africell, but that's not the case. Sierratel still remains a 100% government-owned entity. It's just the support, technical support and financial backup that we are deriving from Africell. Africell allows Sierratel to operate independently because they already have the infrastructure. Okay. All they need is the support from the public now for us to start buying or taking Sierratel SIM cards. Now I have one now already, and it is very good. I've tested it several times when I was in Port Loko yesterday. It works very well. But what I want to say is that telecommunications companies, some of them generate more money than mining companies. I know that. I have been the Minister of Mineral Resources. I've also been the Minister of Information and Communications, so I know.
Okay.
The biggest example that I usually show is that in 2011 or 2012, in the finance bill, the total amount of money that we generated or received from mining companies was $60 million. While that same year, From Africell alone, we received $92 million. And from Airtel, we received $107 million. So the two companies together had over $200 million, about 6 times 3, 18, over 3 times the amount of money we got from all of our mining. So these are good investments. And Sierratel is now going to be placed on that same pathway to bring in money for us. But for that to happen, every Sierra Leonean should now go and get a SIM card from Sierratel.
How many phones would we be carrying?
Give it up. Give it the priority.
Okay.
It's a local priority.
Well, thank you so much, Madam Gaba.
Change your SIM if you have to.
Okay, Madam Gaba, as we close, let's have a brief advice to the young generation.
My chief advice to the younger people, what I feel is lacking and it's getting worse, that lack of respect for the aged. Lack of respect for the aged.
Okay.
I think it's important.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That's how we end the podium for this afternoon. Many thanks to my studio guests, Madam Cassandra Gaba and Honorable Alhaji Alpha Kanu. Our quote for today says, "Growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership." My producer has been Salma Taba. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamar. The podium returns tomorrow, same time. Have a blessed day.